Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're skipping all that generic copy-paste study advice you see everywhere, and instead, we're diving into a real, data-backed case study. We're going to look at exactly how a student used 4 specific and completely free AI tools to tangibly boost their academic grades. So if you're sick of vague tips and just want concrete proof of what actually works, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it.
Right out of the gate, the data here is just striking. By rigorously tracking grades over a full semester, this case study brilliantly highlights the sheer difference between regular studying and targeted AI workflows. We're talking about leaping from a 71% average straight up to an 82%. That's jumping from a B- to an A-. And look, for a lot of people, that kind of bump is literally the difference between keeping or losing a scholarship. But how exactly did they pull this off?
Section 1. The AI Grade Experiment.
To make sure these results were genuine proof and not just some lucky streak, the student tracked everything super systematically. Think of it like a massive spreadsheet, logging the subject, assignment type, the score, the tool they used, and the exact method. But here's the kicker. For the first 4 weeks, they just ground it out normally. No AI whatsoever. This established a rock-solid baseline of their normal grades. Then from week 5 on, they introduced the AI tools one by one. This is absolutely crucial, because it let them isolate exactly which interventions were actually moving the needle.
Section 2. Claude for essay feedback.
Okay, so the absolute golden rule here, you do not use the AI to write the essay for you. That is a total trap. Instead, the workflow goes like this. You sit down and do the hard work of writing the draft yourself, completely independently. Then, and only then, you drop that full text into Claude, which is a great free AI tool, and you ask for a highly targeted structural and argument review before hitting submit. You're using it as a reviewer, not a ghostwriter. Now, the real secret sauce is the exact prompt they used. They didn't just lazily ask, hey, is this good? No. They commanded Claude to review the essay on 3 very strict criteria. 1. Is the thesis clear in every paragraph? 2. What is the single weakest paragraph and why? And 3, which is huge, are the examples being used as genuine evidence or are they just being described? This specific prompt consistently forced the student to stop just summarizing things and start actually analyzing them. It totally elevated their critical thinking. And wow, the results speak for themselves. Because Claude wasn't just fixing typos, but was actively coaching the student's core writing process, it led to a massive 11-point average increase across 9 different essays. The baseline average was sitting at 71%, and after adding this review step, it skyrocketed to an 82%. Sure, it took a couple of tries for the feedback to really click, but once they internalized it, the improvement was just undeniable.
Section 3. ChatGPT for exam prep.
Let's talk exams. Before AI, the student used that standard, frankly exhausting method of just staring at notes and pushing through late-night flashcard fatigue. We've all been there, right? But they swapped that out for an incredibly specific ChatGPT prompt. They told the AI, quiz me 1 question at a time, I will answer from memory only, correct me immediately, stop at 15 questions, and at the end, identify my exact weakest topic. So instead of passively skimming notes, they built a rigorous, customized sparring session. This perfectly illustrates some really well-established cognitive science. It's all about active recall, which is the process of actively retrieving information from your brain to build stronger neural pathways, rather than just passively letting information wash over you while reading a textbook. Think about it. Exams test your ability to retrieve information on the spot, so your study sessions have to practice retrieval, not just passive rereading. And AI makes setting up this retrieval practice completely frictionless. Shifting to this active recall method triggered a staggering 14-point jump. Seriously, 14 points. It brought the exam average up from a 69% baseline to an 83% across 5 exams. Plus, because the AI actually identified their weakest area at the end of every 15-question quiz, the student knew exactly what to drill the night before the test. No more wasting hours reviewing stuff they already knew. Section 4. Daily Habits with NotebookLM and Grammarly. Now here is a daily habit that completely changes the game. Within exactly 1 hour of finishing a class, the student uploaded their lecture materials and transcripts straight into Google's NotebookLM. Then they asked the AI for the 5 most important concepts summarized in plain English and told it to generate 3 potential exam questions based on what the professor focused on. Processing lectures immediately like this forces genuine comprehension right away.
well before you have a chance to inevitably forget it all by dinner time.
Now, to be fair, this habit didn't show massive results on day one. But because cumulative knowledge matters so much for finals, this routine built up slowly and ultimately delivered a very solid 9-point increase in assessments during the back half of the semester. When earlier material popped up again, the student actually remembered it, while the passive note takers were totally lost. Even the professors noticed the students' answers showed deep, genuine understanding, not just surface-level memorization.
Complementing all of this was the super frictionless habit of running the free version of Grammarly on absolutely all written work. It's just always running in the background. It caught those overly long winding sentences and simple language slip-ups, which saved an average of 7 points on lab reports, short answers, and discussion posts. It didn't change the students' actual arguments, it just stopped them from bleeding unnecessary points over completely avoidable, silly presentation errors.
Section 5. What did not work? To keep things totally transparent, we have to look at the failures too. First, the student tried using AI to generate an essay outline before they did any initial thinking themselves. The result? Well, the papers were structurally fine, but they were incredibly thin and generic. They completely lacked any deep engagement with the material, and the professor noticed it immediately. But when the student went back to generating their own outline first, engaging with the text, and then using AI for feedback, their grades shot back up. The golden rule? The order of operations matters entirely. You simply have to do the thinking first.
On top of that, passively asking an AI tool like Perplexity to just explain concepts to them failed to build any lasting memory. Honestly, it was no different than just reading a textbook. Having an AI spoon feed you information passively just doesn't work. Actively retrieving information from your own memory and having the AI correct you, that works. It proves that how you interact with the tool matters just as much as the tool itself.
Section 6. The final grade results. When we pull all these interventions together, it becomes entirely clear that these targeted, active workflows created highly consistent improvements across the board. We're looking at plus 11 on essays with Claude, plus 14 on exams using active recall with ChatGPT, a cumulative plus 9 on lecture comprehension thanks to NotebookLM, and an easy plus 7 on general written assignments just by caching errors with Grammarly. Ultimately, integrating these 4 free tools effectively elevated the student's entire semester average from a 71% up to an 82%. That is a massive, life-altering jump for a student, and it wasn't achieved by buying expensive, fancy software or finding some magical shortcut. It happened by using free tools to force better, more active study habits. Which brings us to a final, crucial thought I want to leave you with. Are you using AI to skip the work? Or are you using it to force yourself to do the work more effectively? Seeing that only the active methods actually yielded results, while the passive shortcuts completely failed, how are you going to redesign your own study workflows tonight to guarantee you aren't just passively consuming information? The proof is right here. Now, it's totally up to you to apply it. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.